Hi guys, Gigi Nurse Practitioner here. Today we're going to talk about my journey into becoming an acute care nurse practitioner. Where did it all started? What courses did I have to take? What training did I have to do? So we'll talk about all that today. First, I came from Haiti at the age of 14 in 1994. I went to high school here, then graduated high school. After that, I went to nursing school. Initially, I was pre-medical, so I was taking a lot of science courses with the biologies and stuff. And then I met a girl that was like, why don't we do nursing school? And plus, my mother was a nurse. I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea. Let's do nursing for now, and then maybe I'll go to med school later on because I was very young at that time. I was at 20 or 21. So that's how the whole nursing program came about. So at that time, I didn't have to go through a waiting list because some school you have to go through a waiting list if all your stuff are not in order. But the fact that I had all those pre-med sciences and biologies and stuff I was taking, I did not have to do or go to a wait list. So I applied to the nursing program. I got right in. At that time, it was an AS degree. So I went into the program in 2001. And in 2003, I think it was a 2 year thing at that time, I graduated with an AS degree in nursing. So I started working. I started working as a nurse as of 22 years old. I started working on a telemetry unit. So I worked on the tele unit for 3 years, which two of it I was bedside, and by the third year I was actually in charge of the telemetry unit. And that was not by choice. My manager was like, "You very experienced here." I'm like, "I've only been a nurse for 2 years," but she was like, "You are one of the best one, quote unquote, here for now. It's either you take the charge position or you find another job." Well, I love a challenge. I was not going to look for another job. So I prayed and I read some more books, and I was so anxious and scared, but I wasn't going to let that opportunity pass by. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I asked her, she promised to help me and train me. I'll do the job. She did that. God bless her soul. She has passed away since. May she rest in peace. But she helped me, and then I was in charge as in my third year out of nursing school. So I worked there, and then I had gotten married, so I moved to a different county. So then got pregnant, had my son, and after my son, I was like, oh, maybe I should go into critical care. So in 2006, that's when I decided I wanted to go into ICU. So to retrack a little bit, so I had 3 years of tele by then, two as a bedside, and one as a charge RN when I went into critical care. So I went into critical care in 2006. I worked in critical care for a good amount of years. I think I was into 7 years into critical care. By that time, I had gotten my bachelor's degree. I wasn't sure yet what I was going to do with it, but I said, okay, let me get my bachelor's degree in the meantime. So I got my BSN and graduated that in 2010. Okay, after my bachelor's degree, it was either I was going to try to go to CRNA school or nurse practitioner school. I was leaning more toward going to CRNA school, but my parents became sick and I couldn't do CRNA school. I took my GRE and everything, but in CRNA school, as you all know, you cannot work. You have to go to school full time, and at that time I wasn't able to go to school full time. So with the nurse practitioner program, I was able to work full time, rent my company on as needed basis, and still go to school full time and take care of my parents and my child. I had a lot of my plate around this time. So yes, you can do it. It was a very stressful moment. I literally lived on campus to study overnight after I dropped my son to school, attend to my parents, and then go back to the school. Sometime I would come home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to be up again by 7:30 in the morning. But again, guys, those things are short-lived. If you have a goal you want to accomplish, this is short-lived. You can go ahead and do the struggle, do what you need to do, because you know it's not going to be like that all the time. Eventually, it's going to be done with, and you're going to have your result that you were struggling for. So that's why I didn't go to anesthesia school. I went to nurse practitioner school. But since I've been in ICU for so long, I love critical care. That's my life. So I decided I could have either taken the family track or the acute care track. Since I've been in ICU, I was in charge in ICU, I decided to take the acute care path. And people were asking me before going to acute care nurse practitioner school, should you be in the ICU? I would highly recommend that you are in the ICU. I've had a few people that were in an ICU before, which is okay, you can get trained, but then it's much beneficial to you if you have a solid critical care background, if you're going to work as a critical care nurse practitioner. I have a friend of mine, she was not critical care background. After NP school, she worked in a critical care unit. She worked in a critical care unit for a year, and then she got a position as an acute care NP, which was very good for her because at that time she was able to get the training needed so she can function better as an acute care NP. And people were asking me also what was my focus as far as was I in CVICU, was I in a critical care unit that's generalized. Where I got my training was a general ICU. I saw patients with strokes, some MI overflows. It's also medical surgical ICU mixed with critical care. I would see post carotid endarterectomy, post bowel resection patient, respiratory failure patient, ARDS patients. What else did I see? Like I said, either you had a ischemic or hemorrhagic stroke. We did not have a neuro unit, so we were also seeing neuro patient. I would have patient with ventriculostomy. What I did not have was patient with PA cath, with swans, but we did have a cardiac unit. Those patients were on the other side. I would get floated sometime to the cardiac unit. Once in a while, I would have one swan or two, but I wasn't so familiar with patient with swans and all that hemodynamic monitoring. So yes, if you're going to be an acute care nurse practitioner, I would highly recommend you get at least a year of training into an acute care settings. If you want to be a CVICU nurse practitioner, you should really work in CV and get a good concept of the hemodynamic monitoring as well. What else I needed to tell you guys? And then, so I went to Barry University in 2013 and graduated the acute care nurse practitioner in 2016. And then in my other video, I talked about how I got to the interview process and got a job and all that. I have another video there you guys can, I'll put the link down as well where you can find out when I talked about credentialing and what you need to do to prepare yourself when you go to the interview and stuff like that. So what classes would I recommend that you take? Your science class, your general classes for your bachelor's degree, and then your classes for your nurse practitioner program. What I would highly recommend is try to do your clinicals in an acute care settings if you can. In a hospital would be better. And then also try to get a year in of critical care training before you apply for a critical care nurse practitioner position, or even before you went to school. That would be even better. Also, people were asking me, how is it? Are you going to be very anxious? Was I very anxious when I got out of school? Of course I was. Everything you don't know, you're very anxious about it. But again, through training and also a lot of reading and also asking a lot of questions. It's okay to not know something, but it's never okay to not know and do it anyway. You're going to kill someone, and that's not what we're in this business to do. We're in the business of saving lives. So make sure that it doesn't matter how many times you ask something, but ask question until you get it. There's so many information available right now these days. You can go to YouTube, you can go to your books, go to the library, go to Google. Although Google is not always good, but you can do background research. Make sure it's something that is peer reviewed. We are people with master's and bachelor's degrees. We should be reading stuff that are peer reviewed. So go and make sure that it's from a good source, and then you can rely on that information that is truthful. That's my journey to becoming a nurse practitioner here. So far, like I said from before, my job is very stringent. It's very It's a lot of work and stress, but it's doable. So if anyone out there is watching that, you want to become an acute care nurse practitioner, it's doable. Don't get me wrong, you are going to be stressed, especially in the beginning, because it's a lot. You transitioning from being a bedside RN to to now being the provider, and not only the provider in a critical care environment, you're becoming the provider. So that could be very, very intimidating. But again, try to keep your confidence in. And how do you build confidence? By doing every day, by asking a lot of questions, by reading, by watching my YouTube videos. That's how you gain confidence. So anyway, um like I said, I'll be putting much more information to help you guys start this journey. But if you do want to go to NP school, ACNP, Acute Care Nurse Practitioner, please go to the program and make sure that's what you really want to do. And make sure you have ways to manage your stress level. You have to have ways to manage your stress level after work, relaxation techniques, and so on and so forth. All right, guys, that was Gigi Nurse Practitioner. I just wanted to talk briefly about my journey, and then I'll be putting more information for you guys. Take care. Bye.